The Rockets made some offseason moves. Most notably, they just signed DeMarcus Cousins, a former All-Star center. They signed Christian Wood as well. I think Christian Wood has All-Star potential. Are the Rockets contenders? Now they're not going small ball. They're getting centers now. They just got two good ones. Are they contenders? Should they be taken seriously?
I think if, and I know it's a big if, but I know Boogie's been hurt the last couple of years, but I hope, I do, because I like Boogie as a player. I do hope he comes back and he's going to play well. If he plays well, you know, you got him, who's still, if healthy, one of the best post players in the league. He can rebound offensively and defensively. He can stretch the floor, too. He can shoot from the mid-range and the three, and he's a very underrated passer at the big man's position. Then you got Christian Wood, who can play defense, block shots. He can also shoot the three ball. So not only did you get bigs who are big men, but you got bigs who can stretch the floor. Like, you can legit play 5 out with those guys. Well, no, Westbrook can't. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can legit play 5 out with these guys. I think they made the proper moves to keep Harden happy. I don't know about Westbrook because I feel like he wants to go guard. But I think these are good moves to keep Harden happy because you still have P.J. Tucker, who can come off the bench, or you can start him. You still have Ben McLemore, who shot at, I think, a 43% clip from 3.
Yep.
You did lose Jeff Green. You did lose Robert Covington, so you don't have those wing guys. But you still have a good team that I think, like I was saying before, I think can compete with Portland because you still have that guy at the top, James Harden. I think can compete with Denver. I think can compete with Dallas. So I think with those two additions, those big men who you had trouble with last year because, you were playing 6'5" big men, which is just not going to work. I think now you have a chance to really get back and be contenders in the West.
The Rockets' time is done. They're not contenders anymore. It doesn't matter what they do, who they sign. They're either making moves to stay the same or making moves to go backwards. The move to trade for Westbrook was a move to go backwards. Not re-signing Trevor Ariza after you lost in Game 7 in 2018 against Golden State was a move to go backwards. In order to get a wing, you trade Capella, get Covington. You stay the same. Now you lost Covington, your best wing defender, and you bring in centers. You stayed the same. Their problem was a wing guy. They got him. They let him go. They had to get a wing guy, but now their problem became their center. Now their problem isn't the center, and their problem is the wing. So they're staying the same. They're not getting better. They're moving laterally. These aren't moves that are going to take the top off of anything. Like, these are the same moves. Maybe now P.J. Tucker can slide to the 3 and finally not guard 7-footers. It might make a difference. But what is DeMarcus Cousins going to be? Is he going to stay healthy? I don't know that. Right now, he hasn't been able to stay healthy. And even if he does, and last time he was healthy, he averaged 16 with the Warriors, he's never been a good defender. And that's what you need in order to guard Jokic, in order to guard Anthony Davis. And Christian Wood, I think he has all-star potential. He averaged 13 and 6 with Detroit, and in per 36 minutes, he was averaging 22 and 11 if he played 36 minutes. Houston has to blow this team up. They have to trade James Harden to the Brooklyn Nets, get Karras in there, get Dinwiddie in there, get Jared Allen in there, and now you have a team that is Dinwiddie.
You can still make the playoffs with that team.
You can. Dinwiddie, LeVert, Jared Allen, Christian Wood, Eric Gordon, and you just start rebuilding. Give Harden the chance to win a championship. It's not with you guys, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of them not trying to trade Harden. Trade Harden so he can win a championship. I'm going to be honest, though. Harden said he liked these offseason moves. There was actually a report that he liked them, but who cares? They're not going to win. Houston should trade Harden. That's my final verdict.
What was that video of James Harden putting the cap bottle on the fact that all these rumors? Like, what's that about?
That's the thing. Like, with all the rumors and everything that's happened this offseason, you have to take everything with a grain of salt. But with everything that we've heard, I find it hard to imagine that the Rockets can still compete. How are they going to enter the locker room again with two guys that they openly shopped? Forget shopped. They were trying as hard as they possibly could to trade both of their top 2 players.
Nah, I say they were trying to trade Westbrook, not Harden.
I don't think they were trying to trade
Fair.
Brooklyn is trying to get Harden.
They still shopped Harden. I think that's fair to say.
Their statement as soon as those trades came is that we're committed to James Harden being our star player.
Shopping Westbrook.
Yeah, they never openly said they were shopping Harden. Harden was the only one that said he wanted out.
Either way, with all of the rumors, I find it hard to imagine that they're going to come in and the chemistry is going to be fine. And I know that there was problems with PJ Tucker this past season. There was problems with Eric Gordon this past season. As for the pieces they brought in, I love Christian Wood. I think that Christian Wood was a terrific signing. I don't know what the Pistons were thinking, letting him go and then paying the same money
to Jeremy Grant,
to Cody Zeller, Jeremy Grant. Like, they brought in 5 power forwards and let Christian Wood walk. Makes no sense. But
that's why they were
I think that was a great move, and I think that he is the perfect 4 to pair alongside James Harden. He can shoot the ball, space the floor, he can defend. I'm super high on Christian Wood. DeMarcus Cousins, I'm not as high on, just because, like Riv said, he's not a great defender. He's not even really a good defender, and the last time we saw him play with the Warriors healthy, he wasn't Boogie. He wasn't the Boogie that we know. He was okay. He was a role player, but he was no better, I don't think, than
he was literally
maybe this
upgraded.
crazy. Enes Kanter was the name that was going to come to mind for me. And now he's coming off another torn ACL. I believe was the injury he suffered this past offseason.
Cool.
So
Boogie.
DeMarcus Cousins.
So same thing.
He's been out of basketball for a year on top of the year and a half he missed prior to that. So I just don't know what he's going to be coming back. If you got him like you had him with the Warriors, I think it would be a good fit. He can shoot the ball even though he can't defend. And that's going to be another thing is their defense. Just wing defenders. I guess they have PJ Tucker who's a solid wing defender, but then if they take him away from down low, do you trust Christian Wood to guard Anthony Davis and Giannis and Bam? I personally don't. And I think that the biggest problem is going to be the chemistry issues, the rumors that have been swirling, and they have a brand new head coach in Steven Silas, who we know nothing about, and this is almost an impossible job to come into and put the fires out.
I trust Steven
I do
Silas.
too.
I think he'll be a good coach.
It's something in me that just says I can trust him. But my thing is, if I'm the Rockets, and you keep talking about this trade to Brooklyn, it sounds cool, but if I'm the Rockets and I'm thinking, I think this is what they're thinking too. It's why they're taking so long. James Harden is a superstar talent. He's the top 5 player in the world. Why on earth would I trade him for anything less than a superstar if I'm still trying, or somebody with superstar potential? If
like
I'm
Ben
still
Simmons,
like to Philly. Like if I'm looking at it at that, I still want to be competitive. I still want fans in the seat because that brings money. Why trade? No offense, but why trade him to a bunch of good players like Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, when I can get Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid, who's superstar talents?
Yeah, and why trade him to a team in the Nets when there are Nets fans that don't believe you should trade 4 first-round picks for Harden?
You said it, not me. But I look at it as like, if I'm a GM, I'm thinking like, okay, I want to still be competitive, but still giving away the best player. So Philly looks like the logical response because I'm getting Ben Simmons, who they keep talking about new LeBron. Okay, it may not be that, but he has superstar talent. Or Joel Embiid, a guy who's legit like a superstar. Instead of getting Karis LeVert, who we just talked about, Boogie, he plays 40 games a year. Spencer Dinwiddie, who, he's what is he, a glorified Lou Will? Okay, Jared Allen, he's Jared Allen. I don't see the mindset in the GM. I just feel like James Harden should be traded for something much more.
I'll be honest, Houston's roster is not bad. I mean, this is my projected starting lineup. This is who I'd start: Westbrook, Harden, Gordon, Tucker, and Christian Wood.
I think Gordon's a good defender.
Off the bench, I'd bring in Cousins, McLemore, and then who else is on your bench?
Daniel
Chris
House.
Clemens.
Who's your starting 5 again? You said Tucker, PJ
Tucker, Christian Wood. Oh, Daniel House.
You should start him at the 3.
Oh yeah, Daniel House, Harden, and Westbrook. Then off
Gordon,
the bench, DeMarcus Cousins, Eric Gordon, McLemore, Chris Clemens. I don't think that's too bad.
It's not a bad team.
They can win if everything goes right, but that's the biggest question mark. We've seen Westbrook these past 3 playoffs has been awful.
But here's the thing. Westbrook in the regular season last year was really great before pre-bubble.
Yeah, but he's never since KD's left OKC. You can see his numbers in the playoffs. He'll average 34 on 36% from the field.
That's your guy.
When he had Paul George, he'll average 27 on 40% from the field. He's never efficient in the playoffs, and you can't win like that. He can't be your second best player. He's too inefficient.
The thing with Westbrook is the market is really, really hard for him right now, and people are not really shopping for him. So I understand they're looking. And what I was reading in the reports is the only teams that looked even mightily interested was Charlotte, before the Gordon Hayward deal, John Wall and the Wizards, which I don't think that makes sense because you're essentially getting the same player, and then the Knicks, but I think the Knicks backed out of it. So getting John Wall, a guy who hasn't played in 2 years, doesn't make sense because they're like the same play style. I mean, John Wall's a better passer in a sense, and I guess a better defender, but he hasn't played in 2 years. Charlotte doesn't have anything that can offer you anything. So what is Westbrook's market? Like, what is Rockets are stuck right now.
He doesn't have a market.
Yeah,
that's his market. Nobody wants Westbrook. And that's the biggest thing that's holding the Rockets back is that they can't get anything for a guy who was an MVP in 2017.
But now you trade the only guy you can get something for. You think if they trade James Harden for an Embiid or Westbrook Embiid would make sense?
Harden for Embiid?
Because that's the only guy with a market right now.
I think Houston is not trading for anybody outside of Ben Simmons. I mean, Philly's not going to trade for somebody. Mm-hmm. They're not going to trade Embiid. It's going to be Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons and Westbrook is terrible.
Exactly. They'll have to trade Westbrook.
And you were talking about moves where they would only go backwards or stay the same. And I think that the Westbrook deal was like the final nail in the coffin in that trend where now you've traded for a guy who is, in my opinion, only going to get worse over the next few years. He was relying on athleticism, and that is going. His efficiency has dropped every single year since, he started playing with Paul George. And I just don't see him getting any better. And you're paying him $40 million. So who's going to want him? He doesn't fit your team. He's just kind of like the anchor that is going to hold them down, even with a roster that I think is pretty well constructed, even with all the clouds of rumors above their head.
So do you take the John Wall deal and just hope for the best?
I think John Wall's a better playmaker than Russell Westbrook and a better shooter. So I would take it, but he has an injury concern. I think it's a move. It's again a lateral move. I just keep Westbrook.
He was on the Steven Jackson and the Matt Barnes. What he said I'm just telling you what he said. What he said was, "I'm better than what I was before," because he apparently had a bone injury.
He probably won't be.
Yeah, he apparently had a bone injury. His foot. He finally got it fixed. So that's what he said.
And supposedly the Wizards said John Wall never requested a trade. Supposedly they said he's here. But I'm also now hearing rumors that they're talking about him with the Pistons and Blake Griffin. So God only knows.
So to wrap up this segment, basically the Rockets did get better this offseason, but they still have a ceiling. The Rockets still have a ceiling in
second round.
There should be serious questions about them, and who knows if Harden and Westbrook will even stay or last the season. Hey, what's up, guys? You just finished watching a clip of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran.
My name is Jack Barteck.
And my name is River Brown.
And we are your hosts for this podcast. We want to thank you guys for watching the clip. Like, subscribe, and comment, and share if you would care to, because it helps us grow. And we're trying to make this a full-time thing. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for supporting, and see you next time.